Hey guys, welcome to the second part of Project Rankings for the Overwatch League brands. Last time we talked the Atlantic Division, and this week we're diving into the Pacific Division, going over what we think about the teams, names, and their merchandise, or really how embarrassed we would to be wearing each of their jerseys, whatever kind of like that. I'll talk about that in a second. But my name is Engine Imsger, and your host as always, and alongside me, I have my two awesome co-hosts. You guys want to take a second to introduce yourself?
Dylan, in Canadian fashion, I'm going to pass it over to you again, buddy.
Yeah, I'm Dylan Beal, aka Beal for Real, on all social medias. I'm excited to go over these. I really am, because we started digging into these last time, and it really got me excited and hyped about the different brandings and all the different stuff that we can expect, not only from these, but a lot of the new teams coming.
Yeah, no, and I'm James Graham. I'm James ARE Graham on most social media as well. Yeah, the last time we got into this, I was surprised at how deep we dove into it and stuff like that. So I mean, it's really it's kind of been an eye opener, how much thought process actually goes into branding and merchandise. So I'm really excited about this week too. There's some the teams on the Pacific are, I find, a bit more fun, I guess, than the Atlantic. So I think this is gonna be a fun time.
See, I'm going to save it all for kind of that discussion, but I kind of disagreed. I love the Atlantic Division a lot more than the Pacific. I feel like those ones are just, they're hit or miss, but I feel like they have some really high-end cool ones. But that's what today is about, so we'll get to that in a couple minutes. But for anyone that did not catch part one, first off, go back and watch that. You can kind of catch up. If we're making reference to that, you'll figure out the team that Dylan hates the most and that James loves the most. And then also, today, how the scoring goes is each one of us are going to grade each different team based on three different categories that I mentioned earlier. Going through their logo, their name, and their merchandise. Name, what we think of their name, if it's the city, if it's the Overwatch League. Logo is the same way, how well it associates with the name, how well it fits with the area, and just kind of branding overall. And then merchandise is going to be how the colors can look on jerseys, how the logo looks, it can be worn in streetwear, if you'd be embarrassed or just never wear it out in public. So that's three categories we're rating on, and each one of us rate each category out of 10 points. So we each contribute 30 points to each team with a total of 90. And we'll go over all of that at the end. So right now, to kind of catch it up if that didn't make total sense, we're going to look at the overall podcast rankings right now, kind of where we're at right now. So overall, out of three of us, we have Houston Outlaws in first place with 81 points. London Spitfire in second with 75. Florida Fusion at 70 points in third. And surprisingly, we had the Florida Mayhem in fourth, even though Dylan decided to give it a 1 for merchandise and James gave it a 10, I believe.
I gave it an 8. I think it was an 8.
Yeah, whatever. You gave it pretty high, so I know you're a little higher up on that.
A little bit.
Boston Uprising at 5 with 53 points, and the New York Excelsior, or the New York Excel, with 35 points, which... Are you guys still feeling, after looking over today's logo, this is still going to be last place?
I think so. I think the XL are probably still going to be bottom tier.
Yeah.
I think.
And as the time of this recording, 4 of the 6 expansion teams have been released too. That'll be our next video, but I think that's still standing the point. And we'll talk about that later. But James, we were talking a little bit about some pre-show. Was there something you wanted to say or do?
Yeah, just had to do with the rankings a little bit. I know we talked about merchandise a lot, and we were talking about branding and stuff like that. So I thought I'd support one of the teams that I.
He's taking off his headphones. We're not able to hear it, but you're all seeing very clearly what is happening.
Just wanted to get one of the behind one of the teams I thought highly of.
Terrible. So, absolutely terrible.
I don't know, man. I'm feeling this. What about you?
Oh my god. So James messaged me about this as soon as we finished last week's episode. And he's like, I have to do this. I have to meet Bill. And he ordered it the same night we recorded last time. And it just happened to arrive today. So it could not have been perfect timing. And that is how serious we take our rankings. If one of the other person hates on our teams, we do not take it very lightly, which is why I'm afraid to talk about the Valiant later. But we'll get to that. Because right now, we're going to move into our first team, which is going to be the Dallas Fuel. Going to give these 2 seconds to kind of to give these two a couple seconds to kind of regather from what just happened, ruining their friendship. But I will lead off with just kind of my overall first impressions of the name for Dallas Fuel. How we'll do it is each one of us will kind of give our thoughts or opinions on the name, and then we'll go through one at a time, giving our overall score. So Dallas Fuel is another one of those teams that I said a lot of times for the last part was that middle of the pack. Like, not bad, not awesome, but I don't hate it. Dallas Fuel, I guess it kind of makes sense for Texas. Oil and stuff down there. Really hot, lots of flames. Like, kind of can associate it, but I don't think it hits near as well as like the Houston Outlaws, which again makes perfect stereotyping for the area, but it works really well. So it'll kind of be a middle of the pack score for me, but I don't think it's horrible. James?
Yeah, no. So I think because I don't know who came first. I don't know who branded Outlaw first because I think that really suited, Texas as a whole way better than Fuel. But I feel like out of the runners up that you could have done, I think Fuel's definitely probably like the best secondary one to go with. Am
I missing something? Like, why?
Okay, so have you ever watched like anything that's shot in Texas? Anything that's shot like any movies that are like, for Christ's sakes, like King of the Hill, the whole emphasis was propane. Fuel propane, it's the whole, it's if they have something to go off of, this is I think the best thing, and not only that, I think they tied it together really well with the logo. Like, flames are really easy to do, and I know I'm kind of like skipping into logo a bit, but I think the association between the two is very, very relevant. So, I think that with that incorporation, I think it's a pretty solid name. I think I definitely put it above average, honestly.
Dylan, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think it's above average. I really like the name. I don't think it's terrible at all. I think it's fitting for the area for sure, and I think it goes along well. I mean, obviously it's no Outlaws. It doesn't blow you out of the water, but I think Fuel's a pretty good name actually, especially since it's tied to the area, which Texas is doing really good for names, I think. Considering like some names are just like just random words, like, oh cool, you're named like Excelsior, like, great, I guess. But like this actually fits the area, and I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, without it stepping over the toes of like other like major branding, you know what I mean? Like, you got to remember too, like you can't do the Longhorns, you can't do the Cowboys. You like all these names have already been taken by other major teams. I think out of like the list that they kind of had to work with, I think Fuel's like probably one of the better ones. Absolutely, it's better than like what would you call them? You know what I mean? Like off the top of your head, like what's another name that you could associate with Dallas, or not just Dallas, but like Texas and like as a whole that would really suit the area, you know what I mean? Like, I can't think of anything else better until you go into like the random names.
If you're going with that, I would have done like the Dallas. I guess Heat makes it hard because of Florida, but I don't know. For me, I guess there's a bit of an age gap between us, so maybe that's where kind of you think about Fuel. And like King of the Hill was a little bit before my time. I've seen it, but like I didn't grow up watching that, so that may be a little bit for you guys too. But I guess just overall, I give it a 6 out of 10. I guess it's above average, but it's just kind of mediocre to me.
I gave it an 8, man. I thought, yeah.
I'm with James 8.
Yeah,
wow,
absolutely.
So we'll move on to that. I guess you talked about it a little bit there too, but kind of for the logo, I like the logo more than I like the name. I think it makes sense with the name. I like how it is. It's very simple. It's very easy to see in the public and kind of know what it is. The colors are really nice. I love the off shades of blue. So I think the logo's a lot better, especially with the name that they had to work with, in my opinion, which was bad. You guys a little higher on it, so you might have a little bit of a score here. So I like it better. I think it's very recognizable, and the flame to me kind of goes with the heat a little bit more, and I think hot, which is flame, not fuel. But I like the logo enough. But again, overall, Dallas Fuel to me is just kind of going to be a mediocre middle of the pack team.
I think the logo. I got the logo above average as well, alongside the name. You know what I mean? I think it's simple, but they're going on something that's very common, like any sort of flames or anything like that. But they've like made it their own because what burns the hottest, the flames blue at that point, right? And you get that with propane and stuff like that, right? So I think I don't know. To me, they hit their mark on both of these. So yeah, no, I gotta disagree, Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, James is just over there spouting truth. Like, I'm 100% on board with all of this, too. Like, I really like the colors. So I know blue is very, very overdone in the Overwatch League. I understand that. But, like, the blue and that, like, gray silver color,
Yeah.
it's so good
I do
together.
like
It
the
looks
gray.
so good.
I didn't bring it up
really
in
like
here,
it.
but I like the gray a lot more too when they do incorporate that.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
fair.
And I do like the colors of it just being like there's the blue on blue a lot of times too, where it's like a darker blue, and then the flame is that lighter blue. I think it's real good actually. I really like this.
Real good.
So I am going to adjust my score a little bit too. I'm going to bump it up to a 7. Which is still, I feel like, going to be lower than both years. But the blue does make sense for the flame, the propane, the fuel. I kind of see the whole big picture kind of coming together a little bit for me. Now that you guys are going, and it kind of just all went over my head. It wasn't really kind of what I was thinking. So I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Better than
Hit
the
him
name.
with it.
That's all I have to say.
Hit him with an 8, boys. Hit him with an 8 again, man. They, and the big reason I think I'm knocking them is just because, again, they're like late to the show as far as like names that you can associate with Texas, and so but I mean, overall, with what they've had to work with, they did a great job. I'm real happy with it.
Yeah, 8 squad, let's go.
Wow. I thought it'd be a little bit more kind of even here. Now I see. I definitely think if this is how you're rating the fuel, you two are always gonna be on the same page. And I'm gonna be off in my own little kitty
Off on
corner.
your own.
But moving on to kind of the merchandise. Looking at their logos and their jerseys and some of the merchandise they've done, they haven't done a ton, but I do like it. Each step I go farther, I like it more and more. I love the blue on blue, even though it reminds me a little bit of the Excelsior. They have that just a little bit there too.
Fair.
You see that blue on blue kind of done a lot, even when their primary cards aren't. So I'll knock it a little bit for that because I feel like it's common, but it looks good when you incorporate kind of the white or gray in there. It looks really sharp. I love the jersey designs. Like, merchandise is more up and up to me. And I definitely think the logo is something, though, that can't just be put onto a shirt. And I feel like it'd be recognizable. So if you just had the logo here, like on like a pocket or something kind of like that, and that blue on any color shirt, it's recognizable. It looked nice, and no one would question why you're wearing that because it still kind of could be worn in street band a little bit. So this is going to be the highest I have for the scores out of all three.
See, that's weird for me because they chose I think they nailed their like logo like a name association, but I think with the merch, despite the colors being their only redeeming quality, I feel like the name and the logo are going to be hard to brand because again it's like flames are like I don't know, man. Talk to Guy Fieri, like that's the kind of people that kind of like associates with. I mean, yeah, if you make it subtle and stuff like that, I think that might be the way it works, but you can't. It's going to be hard to market fuel, you know what I mean, as like a streetwear or something like that. Like, I don't think that's going to really save them. Like, I think I really agree that like the blue and gray, like as soon as I saw their gear page, I was like, oh man, that looks sick. But I think everything else is kind of damning them. That's the crappy part.
I actually disagree. I think the flame is like subtle enough of where it's not egregious, you know? It's like very nice. It's very small. It's very subtle. It looks like a very good logo, and the colors they have to work with, super sleek, super good. I'm loving this. I really love the branding that they have overall. It's awesome, and I think it looks good on clothes and stuff. And I would totally be down to get a jersey from them if they weren't just such a terrible team and absolutely awful.
This is we do not take that into account here, but it's a good point. So I guess with that, once again, it's going to be my highest out of 3. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10 for merch. I really kind of dig the logo. Everything comes together from the first 2 parts that will work here to kind of be user merchandise, and the secondary colors comes in clutch to really bring that up for me.
Yeah, see, like for me, like I think I'm kind of the opposite. Like the secondary following over to the merch doesn't really hit for me. I still think the colors are slick. I still think they have a lot to work with. I just don't think they're gonna hit as hard as like some of the other teams that we ranked previously. So I'm giving them a 7.
Well, I guess I'm just gonna balance everything out and just give it a 9 because I really like the merch a lot.
Holy moly!
I'm a generous. I'm going to be a very generous boy with this this rankings because I like a lot of these teams and I think Fuel deserves it. They're doing really well with their branding. I love the color.
All right. Any last kind of closing thoughts? I guess James can't hear me right now. You got anything else you want to wrap up on before we move over? But otherwise,
Yeah, I mean, just adding into that. So every team has like a little hashtag associated with it. The kind of like, oh, this is like our team hashtag, and theirs is Burn Blue, and I think that's really cool. Like, I know it's not directly related to anything that we really talk about, but I think that fits as well. And I just kind of wanted to highlight that because I thought it was cool.
Yeah, it's a good branding angle. Absolutely, I think it's. I think out of like a lot of the hashtags are pretty decent, but they really hit it. Like it's a shame their team isn't like top tier because I think they'd just be a powerhouse. But yeah, no.
All right. With that closing thought, we will move on to the next team, which is going to be Shanghai Dragons. And I'm going to let Dylan lead with this. I think I know where James is going to end up, and I want Dylan to kind of lead with what he thinks of Shanghai, especially after his unpredicted hype on the Fuel.
Yeah, so I guess just starting off with just the name itself, I really like the name. It's perfect. It's perfect for a Chinese team because like it fits into like the culture and it fits into like a lot of like the old stories like that everyone shares there, and it fits it really well. It works, and it feels like because they were kind of the first Chinese team there, they were able just to snag the most prime name possible and just like, yep, that's ours. Good luck, everyone else. Like,
Yeah.
that's like, oh, it's so perfect. I think they nailed it on the name.
James?
That's just it, man. Like these guys saw like the low hanging fruit. We're like, I don't care. We're not gonna try and be creative. We're not gonna try and do something outside the box. We're taking it. We're making it ours. Who cares how their season went? Like, I mean, these guys, like, as far as name, they nailed it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to add either. I think all of our scores are going to be exactly the same coming up here. But it's just like the Outlaws. It is stereotypical name or kind of genre, but it works so well that you can't go to hate it. So,
Yeah.
Dylan, let's just bring these across the board.
So I don't think we're gonna have all the same numbers because even though I really like it, I gave Outlaws a 10 because I thought it was creative and unique and interesting for the area. I gave Shanghai a 9 because even though it's like the perfect name, it doesn't have that like twist of like, oh, that's like creativity.
Even better.
The creativity behind it is perfect. This was low hanging fruit. It's perfect low hanging fruit, and it's a great name. But it's a 9 out of 10 for me.
See, I just gave him the full. I gave him the full 10. I was just like, you know what? Because you know what? I think there is that risk of branding where somebody's like, do we do it? You know what I mean? Do we risk it and stuff like that? Do we? And you know, like, I mean, I think the only other team the only other name that I think that Shanghai could have gotten away with was like maybe like the Wall if they wanted to, or like, you know,
that'd be kind of cool.
Like, right? Like, and that's just it. I think
Bad
that's
timing,
like
but that would have been cool.
yeah. But I mean, like, but I still gave them the 10 because they're like, you know what? We're not gonna try and put a twist on this or anything like that. We're gonna take it. We're gonna commit to it. So I'm okay with that.
Yep.
I gave him a 10.
10 out of 10. I agree it may not be as... But I don't feel like Outlaws or Cowboys would have been... I mean, literally, Houston Outlaws is just a synonym of Cowboys.
Cowboys?
So, like, I don't really feel like it...
Not. It is not at all.
But I feel like those are 1 and 1. That's okay. We should have talked about that last week. But I give it a 10 out of 10 because I think in terms of creativity and low-hanging fruit, they're about the same kind of level there. So they just went and grabbed it. So I'm giving it a 10 out of 10 as well. You can kind of continue on your point a little bit there while you're talking about the logo as well, though.
Oh. Ooh, this logo. Oh my god, it is so good. It is such a good logo. Because, like, okay, first of all, it's the dragon, right? Easy peasy. Like, that's their names. They have to have it. It's in an S. And it looks sick. Not only that, we got the tail, the end of the tail. Ooh, turn that thing red. Get all the colors in there. This is such a sick logo. It like fits so perfectly, and it doesn't look like just a random dumb generic logo. Like it fits super super well, and it just looks crisp, clean. Oh, I love it. I love it so much, actually. I really like Shanghai Dragons more and more, and since we dug into them with this, I'm loving this team a lot. I mean, they didn't win a single game last season, but damn,
They won
they
in
have
your
good
heart.
branding.
They won in
Yeah,
your heart.
they did, and I understand now partially why they have such a big fan base. It's like this. It's just such good branding. I think it looks good.
Yeah, so with me, I mean, don't get me wrong, the logo hit a lot of good points and stuff like that. I was very happy with it. That being said, though, I don't know. I feel like they could have done something more. I don't know what it is, but to me, the logo just doesn't boom as much as some of the other teams. Much like I'm pretty sure I ranked the Spitfire, and I did rank Spitfire in Houston really, really high. So I mean, and I feel like they just missed something. There's just some little extra flair that I think they could have done, or they could have shaped the logo a little differently. To me, when I look at that, I've seen that same kind of generic S dragon kind of done up since I was a kid. You know what I mean? I've kind of seen that logo a tad overdone. So I think there's something else that could have been done there. I just don't know what it is.
I disagree. I'm totally on the board with Dylan here. I think this looks amazing. The S and the dragon. Such a nice compliment there, too. They did not have to turn it into an S. They could have easily just put a dragon head or something kind of there. I still would have been hype on it. But with the S, it brings it out perfect. You have the kind of the flames or whatever that kind of is. Scales, I don't know what it is, but they have just that little nice touch there that makes it pop a little bit more. It's going to be a little bit of their downfall in the merchandise for me. But in terms of just the logo going along with the name, beautiful. So I am ready for your score, Dylan, because I don't have anything more to add because you did a really good job hitting my points.
I think it's fairly solid. I gave it a 9.
I hit him with an 8.
I hit him with a 9 too. I didn't quite give him the 10. It's not that perfect, mind shattering, but it is just that little bit away. That Houston Outlaws, they got the 10 because of the dual pistols until kind of the Longhorn thing. That's just next level, and that's hard to match. This is a 9.9 to me. It was just missing that little bit to get to the 10. But moving on to merchandise.
This is the thing I'm not super on board with. I just really don't like bright yellows, I guess. And their one downfall is that they have I think they have 2 different jerseys. And I don't know which one is the more common one, because I know they have it's the main is red, and then they also have the one that's white.
Mm-hmm.
I like the one that's white. I think it's pretty cool. There's a lot going on with it. There's a lot of different colors and stuff. But it's it's okay. I don't like a lot of the yellow on it, though. On a lot of their merch. I don't know. It doesn't feel that good. And then also it feels weird to have all 3 of those. It feels weird to have yellow, red, and black together. Just in my opinion, it feels weird to have all of them together. But some of their other stuff only uses the red and black, and I think that's super solid. That super dark red and the black, I think it works together. Something that I didn't hit upon with a lot of the teams is they released a secondary line of merch. I think right before season 2. So one of them was the quarter zip, of where it only has 2 colors. And the big meme obviously was Philadelphia Fusions, because everyone was talking about the Naruto outfit, which we totally forgot to talk about. But anyways, with this one, theirs is just red and black. Ooh, that's nice, clean, simple. I like it a lot. But the yellow on a lot of their merch just doesn't do it for me.
See, I'm inherently agreeing with Dylan as well, because where I do obviously like bright colors. I don't know if that's apparent or not. I think their execution on where they're putting it and stuff like that, it just doesn't sell. Their jersey has the red jersey, for example, has one sleeve that's yellow, and I just I don't like that. That's trying a little too hard to be original. Now that being said, like Dylan said, the quarter zip up is slick. It's real nice looking. And I again as well, looking into further branding and stuff like this in further merchandise, they have a lot of tools to work with. So I don't think they're totally out of it and stuff like that. Their official Overwatch stuff is it's kind of hit or miss, but they have a real big toolkit. So I don't want to write them off entirely. That too, and they have they have a gray and white kind of shirt as well, which pops more than I thought it would, and it has just like again like the red little like tail, and and I was scrolling through, I was like red and black, like I mean like it's all right, and I saw that, I'm like that kind of does it for me. Like I mean if they like I know like gray is not really a color that I think they like work in a lot, but it like I mean it works there. If they want to bust that out more often, like I mean gray and white always looks nice, so I mean a lot of the time, especially if it's a very darker gray. So yeah, no, I think they got a lot to work with. I think that's the big thing.
Yeah, I think I bounce back and forth on like every other thing I look at. Red and Jack zip up, I love it. Jerseys,
Yeah.
I can't stand it. I hate them trying to force a yellow in there. And like for some
Yeah.
teams, I'll compliment them bringing in that third color. This is not one of them. That yellow really, if that yellow did not exist anywhere, I would not even be sad about it for a second. Like it's not needed anywhere. Maybe a little compliment here and there, but trying to force on the big jerseys and stuff kind of like that, it just doesn't feel needed. I
It's
also
unnecessary.
don't love just the dragon on a t-shirt. I love the logo overall, and I love it with the name, but when you separate it from the name, I don't love the logo on that, so that makes it harder for me to kind of get behind some of the merchandise too. So I bounce back and forth. Some of it I really love and I'd buy in a heartbeat. Other of it I'm like, who thought of this? So I don't know. You guys got anything to add, or Dylan, you got sore for this?
I got a score 7. It's all right. I like it's like they have a lot to work with, so that's why I gave it above average. They have a lot to work with, and some of it's good, but some of it's just not good at all.
I see, and I think I gave them an 8 because I think the potential is much higher than a usual average merchandise team. You know what I mean? I think they have again their colors that they have at their like disposal, they can do a ton with. So I think I like the logo by itself. Yeah, it's gonna look a little dorky, especially if the name isn't associated with it. But I think they have way more potential than a lot of other brands. So that's why I gave them an 8.
I gave him a 7 because I'm so torn. Some of it I love, some of it I hate. Thought about giving it a 5, thought about giving it an 8, thought about giving it a 6. Like I was all over the place. I'm like, I'm gonna put in the 7. It's kind of that middle ground for me. So yeah. Any last close-up points before we move on to the Battle of LA? And we're going to start with that. With the Gladiators going to be the first of the 2 LA teams that we go over. I don't want to talk about them like together, but I just put them back to back on purpose because it's the whole Battle of LA kind of thing.
Why not?
I'm going to have you start with this one, James.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So, okay, I was torn on this. I sat here and I despite the amount of time we took initially to kind of look at these, I sat here and I really contemplated the Gladiators and how I wanted to how I felt about them. I inherently am drawn to the name Gladiators. I think it's a sick name. I think it's it's a really cool angle to kind of take. But what does it have to do with LA? It has nothing to do with LA. I mean, that being said, what's LA is what's their identity? You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think that's why I'm bumbling over it right now, because this internal battle that I had in my head is just being vocalized now. So I wanted to really like them, but at the same time I was having a hard time trying to associate why I like them. I think maybe it's just because I'm drawn to the name as a whole. So that's kind of where I stand. I'm really, really up in the air with these guys.
Yeah. I guess I'll follow that up there.
Yeah.
I'm feeling the same kind of way. I definitely, it has nothing to do with LA. I can't even think of a slightest way. But they did do a good job of picking from that generic name list. There are so many just random names. I mean, you can look how bad that can go wrong. Look at the New York XL. They did the same kind of thing. They just picked a random kind of name there and hope it was going to work out, and they're flopped. I feel like the Gladiators, even though it has nothing to do with LA, hits well. It makes sense in the Overwatch League. It makes sense in video games. It kind of makes sense with that. I'm bringing in the logo here. We didn't do that much last time, but I like it. They had the shields up too, kind of thing. It works well for being just a generic name. And I really feel like it's about as well as you could have done with one of the generic names. I'm a bigger fan of it. Despite it not having that association that I usually hold pretty high, I still feel like it hits pretty well.
I think it's okay. It's a generic name. It's kind of boring. I do think it's good what they did with it, because they in terms of names, you were talking about how they have the shields up and stuff like that, and we'll go into it with the logo and stuff, but they do tie it all in together. So I can't hate on them that much, but it's kind of boring. It's all right, I guess.
Yeah. James, what do you got for a score?
And see, like, I mean, this is one of the ones where I had to sell, and I had a number that I backspaced, and then I put another number, but I put them at a 7. I gave them a 7, and I know that's a really average name to or the average number to kind of land on, but it's just they picked the best of the generic, and they're making it their own sort of thing. So that's where I'm kind of at.
I'll give them an 8. I don't know if I'm slightly biased kind of by the rest of the branding and all that kind of stuff there, but the name works well for me. I feel like it works really well, especially with Overwatch. It kind of fits into that vibe very well to me. So I'll give it an 8. I feel like since it is the best of the generic names, I like it more.
And just because it's a generic name, but there's substance there, I gave it a 7.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. James, you want to move on to
logo,
colors, kind of, all that kind of put together.
Okay, so logo already, I think the logo is well executed. Again, it's a generic name. It's a generic is they went that route, but they this is where they started owning it. This is where they made it theirs. I think the lion's head is super sick. And again on the background of shield. Not only that, but I think they're the only team that rocks purple. I think they made in there, and that's I think a big redeeming quality of theirs too. They made it very regal, very noble, and which is kind of weird to tie aside Gladiator, because that's not usually the thing you think of. You'd almost peg that with something like a name like the Knights or something like that. But I have a hard time knocking it. I think they did a really, really good job with this. I'm a big fan.
I don't know. I'm definitely not as sold on it as the name. I get the shield, I get the lion's head, I get that kind of goes back to Gladiators, but I just feel like there's a bit of disconnect to me. It's not near as hype for me as the name. I feel like this looks like something you make in a Call of Duty emblem maker. I feel like it's very generic, very kind of done. So it's a little harsh on it, but it's just the slight disconnect. It doesn't hit for me as well as the name. I don't know what it is about it. I love the colors. Purple and white. Love the colors. I love that bold pop. It really makes them pop. But the logo specifically does not land for me.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Logos, it's kind of boring. I don't really like purple, but someone had to do it, I guess. So good on them. But I don't know. It's just all not very exciting. Just to me, at least, it's not very exciting and pretty generic.
Wow, I feel like I'm ranking real high then, because I hit these guys with an 8. I thought this was again what they're working with. I thought it was pretty damn good.
I still gave them a 7, despite kind of being pretty harsh on them. It's still up there. So it doesn't click to me. It feels like there's a little bit of disconnect, but it still looks nice and it still makes sense, and it's still very easily brandable, which I love, and that's what we're really ranking here, the brand. I feel like that works really well for brands anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I was in the same boat. I gave them a 7 because it's, I don't know, it's generic. It's not the colors I like, but it doesn't look awful, and someone had to do it, and I mean, there's substance, so.
It's the best generic, right? That.
Yeah. It's if you randomly generated a team, but it all kind of works out fairly well.
Yeah,
just works out in the end.
Yeah, exactly. So moving on to their merch. So this is where I started having a bit of a bone to pick with them, but was still on the fence because I looked at their the big thing I've done with all these guys is I've looked at their Overwatch store and I've been okay, what are they using? What are they working with? Where's their head at when it comes to what they think is good? And this is where these guys shot themselves in the foot, because they don't use that bold, like I said, royal or regal purple that they've been using for their logo. They use this almost pale, almost I want to call it a borderline lavender, which is just, it's dull. And it doesn't look like it belongs. It looks very out there. So that's if they stuck with the very deep purple and white, I think these guys, I would score them a lot higher. But I think because they tried to incorporate this softer color, it just doesn't work for me. So, but that being said, I think again for marketability, they can do some stuff with this. It's just if this is where their head's at going into it, I don't have high hopes for it. That's the problem.
Did you see the bomber jacket that these guys made for going into playoffs?
I did not. No. So so if they had a good bomber jacket, then
So they were one of the few brands that have actually put out additional merch on top of that. And
Okay.
I think with the the Overwatch gear stuff, there wasn't that disconnect. I feel like that was maybe like a concern that they had between Blizzard and the team, but I feel
Right.
like some of their stuff isn't that great. Like I don't love their like zip up like the home team one, but I really like both the bomber jackets. I'm a big bomber jacket guy too, kind of on top of that there. So I feel like on the Overwatch store, they kind of shot themselves in the foot. But when they're working on them themselves, they're going that right step for kind of a more streetwear, kind of more nicer fashion line that I really like. So, and I love the purples. The purples can really be used well. But they're focusing on a lot of that black and white too, which is kind of their secondary colors. They use that a lot in merchandise too. So I'm really digging the LA Gladiators' personal merchandise efforts, but the Overwatch store is really hit or miss as well, kind of how it was with Shanghai. So all over the place.
Yeah, so I think that the LA Gladiators they don't have great merch. It's like, yeah, like nice bomber, but like you just put your logo and it's like really small and it's just a normal bomber jacket. Like I could literally take the same thing and just like throw a random logo and make it black and white and it's just a bomber jacket. They didn't put any sick flair onto it. But so I don't think it's great, but I actually just want to take time to talk about their contenders team real quick, because their contenders team is called Gladiators Legion. The only difference is that instead of the shield, they have like this. It's like a banner, like a banner in the background.
Oh yeah,
And,
okay.
oh my god, they have the sickest jersey of all time, and this jersey could have been the Gladiators jersey. So it's their same exact colors, except half of the jersey has like the lion on it, and it's all in white, and it's taking up like half of their jersey. If you just search like Gladiators Legion jersey, oh my god, it is so crisp and sick and amazing. Why isn't this the Gladiators merch? This is amazing. And so like I just wanted to point that out because it's amazing.
See, that's where I go back, and that's why I have hope for Gladiators merch, because this is contenders. Blizzard does not have as much control over this. So when they have free will, this is where they go with their merchandise.
I mean, Blizzard does, because otherwise we would have stuck with Philadelphia Fusion University and their FU jersey.
Yes, they have it some, hilarious. But you look at contenders teams can do whatever jerseys they want. All Overwatch jerseys are pretty much the exact same templates with different colors. So when teams have free will, this is what happened with the Gladiators, and this is why I'm extremely hyped on them.
Yeah, I mean, this shows they have potential, but the question is, will they go with the potential? My thoughts are just meh. I don't like any of the stuff they have, but there could be better stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I drank the Kool-Aid listening to Andrew, because like seeing not only the bomber, because the bomber jacket,
it's simple, but it looks good.
Yeah, and like Dylan, I don't know about you, man, but that's a big ass logo. That's not a little logo. Like their logo.
It's like right here. It's just in the pocket.
No. They had the shield on the back. They had the shield and the line on the back.
You're looking at the wrong bomber. Not the bomber through the Overwatch store, through their own store.
Top. It's just in the top, and it says LA Gladiators down the back. It's like, like this is all right. It's not that great. I'm on their store.
Oh no, you're looking at no. Scroll down.
You're looking at the wrong place.
No, he's looking at the other bomber. I know it's a bomber.
Oh yeah, there's another one. Okay, cool. It's a bit bigger. Sick.
James, what's your score? We've been on this one for a while.
I give. You know what? I started with a 5 because I saw the Overwatch. I didn't see this stuff, but I'm bumping it up to an 8, boys. The boys deserve an 8.
I'm giving it a 9. I have not seen a team so ready on their personal merchandise do so well and have such a good kind of approach. 9.
Dylan?
I hate it. I hate it. I hate their colors and stuff, but they have a separate store for themselves, and they're putting other stuff out there, and seeing their contenders team stuff, I give it an 8, a reluctant 8. I don't like it.
Love it.
I don't like it at all, but I'm giving them an 8 because they have a lot of potential, and at least they have a separate storefront where they can sell kind of their own.
A lot of teams are starting to do that, and I expect every team to do that by the end of Season 2.
Also, if you're a Gladiators fan, just buy their Contenders team jersey because there's almost no difference and you can't tell.
Yeah.
It even says Shields Up on it. So like just buy that 'cause it looks
It's all marketed, yeah.
All right, now after making you drink the Kool-Aid for one team, it's time to make you drink the Kool-Aid for the other LA team, the LA Valiant.
Well,
Team.
hold up. You arranged this so you could be the lead talker for your team.
Possibly. No bias here. No bias at all. I swear,
no bias.
On God. So, again, Valiant is another one of those teams that just picked a random name. I can see it a little bit more. Valiant, Valhalla, like maybe come around to Angels and kind of stuff that long run. But really, there's no connection there. There's no solid connection there to the city of LA. But it is another one that hit the gold mine with a random generated name. Dylan's going to disagree on me this, and he's going to follow me up on
Look
this.
at him.
But I feel like I really love it. And again, this overall brand really hits for me. And I don't know, random name with it. I'm just putting it together. I like the name. I don't need a reason to like my favorite team's name. It's good.
No bias though, boys. No bias.
I'm gone.
Okay, so I just want to say, just to start off, I'm sorry, Andrew, but I'm gonna shit all over your favorite team this time.
I had a feeling. I knew you were going to.
Yeah, so in terms of the name, where you had Gladiators, it's really I like their generic name because like you can do interesting stuff with it, but like Valiant, I don't. It just doesn't. It's a generic name, but it doesn't have the same substance for me as that did. Like Gladiators had like a cool substance because it's like Gladiators, Warriors. You can talk about Shields Up and stuff like that. It's all cool, but this one, it's just. I mean, there is those connections, but for me, the connections are weak and they don't like stick. They don't stick the same way. So I didn't care for it really.
I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm not gonna shit on them as much. I honestly think they should have just like looking at the logo and what they decided to pick. The name should have been like Valkyrie or something like that. Like I mean, like that you could I think that opens up a whole more bigger window. I mean, but I mean, yeah, it's not horrible. Like I mean, it's not the Excelsior, like, and it's definitely not the Mayhem, boys. It's definitely not the Mayhem. So I mean, like. Yeah, it's not horrible, but it's not like again like the mind doesn't go to something specific immediately, and that's the big thing I have with these guys is that there's not like that direct association. My association with them now is what the Valiant have put out because they've kind of made it their own. So I mean that's kind of redeeming. But yeah, no, they are a tier below. I think the Glads in this case.
Giving an honest kind of my opinion on this is that yeah, it doesn't hit as well as Gladiators, and it is going to be lower scored than Gladiators. I like the team name, though, and there is bias in it, and to me, it just sounds right, it feels right to me. But there is that disconnect. It has nothing to do with LA, but it's still, to me, an upper-end, random generated name. It's not going to be the Excelsior. It's not going to be... the Mayhem is a little bit more kind of put together there, too. So it's just going to be whatever for me. So it's going to be a 7 out of 10. Right below the Gladiators, which had an 8. It's just... doesn't hit as well, especially following up the Gladiators.
Fair enough. I gave him a 6 just because again, it's above average, but it's not overly above average. If that makes sense.
And I probably have a bias on that too, on my side.
Yeah. I did the same. I gave him a 6 just because like it's not terrible, but it's nothing exciting.
So I want to move on to the logo, which I do feel like they hit a little better than the name. I do like the logo. I love the V going into the helmet. I feel like it is something... I just feel like Dylan's just waiting for his turn right now. I do agree it would have hit a lot better with the Valkyrie, which is what I obviously go right away to this. So they do miss that, but they do bring that Valkyrie vibe into it in the long run. But that's not really what we're talking about here, because we don't talk about the overall brand much. But they do bring it well. I like the logo. It does look well on things to me. I have it on my I have in the t-shirts and stuff kind of like that. Again, it's not beautiful. It is not perfect. There's a lot of problems. It's above average, but it still doesn't hit. But I like it better than I like the name.
Yeah, like I mean that's just it. The big redeeming quality of the Valiant is that they made their logo theirs. That's the big thing. They didn't bomb it. They didn't make it like I mean, it's very much an Overwatch team logo to me. Like that's a big association I have with it. But I mean, and like the V going into it is a little subtlety that's not bad, but yeah, like I mean, it's okay. It's okay.
I feel.
I mean, like, all right. First of all, I don't see a V. I mean, like, maybe I kind
What?
of, but like with the head part, it's like a W.
The
Like,
bottom.
yeah,
No,
I guess
the bottom,
I
like
guess.
the face mask, very clearly with the logo.
Oh,
I'm looking
no,
at this
yeah,
is extremely
okay.
clear.
No, I guess I see it.
But you don't notice the subtlety right away, which
Yeah,
I think
I
is
mean-
part of the problem, right?
I don't know. I don't like it that much. I mean, it's okay, but I don't know. I feel disappointed. Like reviewing this one, I just felt disappointed because it's like it's okay. You know, I like how it's a very flat logo. I do like that actually about it.
Mm-hmm.
But just like I don't know, it doesn't get me all excited or anything.
Yeah, no, I feel. Got a little shake in there.
A little head shake, yeah.
Yeah. With all that being said, I'm kind of feeling the same way, and I couldn't bring myself to give it an 8. So again, I'm giving it a 7 because I like it. It's better than the name, but I can't compare it to some of the other 8s that are out there for logos. For logos.
Yeah, and I think because of where I'm scoring like everybody else so far, I gave them a 6 again for the logo. Like I mean, it's not bad. I do like the flatness to it. I do like that very like, you know, the one color, very 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 straightforward. So yeah, it's not amazing, but it's definitely not horrible.
5.
I gave it a 6.
Okay.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, just I mean like so the logo being like nice and flat and like using that yellow because it's like it looks kind of like a helmet color a little bit like it could be worse. It could be worse.
Could be
Yeah.
a lot worse.
They could have really screwed this up, I think. Like I mean I think because of because they picked a generic name, there is a lot of room to screw that up, you know what I mean? Like especially with the Valiant. Like I mean there's like you can go so many angles with that, and I think they probably went one of the better ones. So
I feel. And going into the
Yeah.
merchandise, and I always kind of bring the colors into it a lot. So the colors are actually the reason that I first got in the LA Valiant. From Wisconsin, big Packer guys. I love green and gold. I love the green they use. I love the gold they do. It's pretty close. You can kind of even see on camera to the Mayhem yellow, but it's a little darker, which I do appreciate a little bit. It doesn't stick out as much. I should have grabbed out my other t-shirt, and I feel like everything on the Overwatch store is good. It's not great. It's not bad. It's just good. But really where the kind of redeeming is that they also have started doing things outside of the Overwatch store. They have this awesome long sleeve. They have bro tanks. They have short sleeves, which aren't online for sale yet. They're only at special events. But I see the way that they're going with this, and when they're working on their personal merchandise, I see it going in the direction very similar to Gladiators. They have that same kind of vibe, and I'm very much digging it. And I'm getting behind kind of the future, and I'm putting it on top of an overall good store across the way.
So yeah, okay. So I want to give them full points for reaching out and doing their own merch and stuff like that. Looking at their Overwatch store, I don't like the olive. I don't like that color. I don't
olive?
know why. Yeah, it's like an olive color. Like that's the color I describe it. It's like olive. I think they I mean, I would have gone like a little shade darker maybe. Full points for them trying to own it, but like I mean, man, guys, I work at a hospital. I see vomit when I look at that, man. Like that's what I see when I see that color combination. You know what I mean? Now that being said, going back to their individual store, yes, it's great that they're doing that, but if you look at what they're doing with that stuff, it's a very, very safe approach. It's their logo, which is yellow, which is cool, and then they go black and white. That's what they're doing. That's like, I mean, which don't get me wrong, it works, it sells, but it's safe. It's nothing crazy. It's nothing. It's like I mean, it's I don't know. It doesn't totally do it for me. It's nice to see they're making effort, and I mean their hoodie is nice. Like I mean, I like the Valiant down the sleeve. That's kind of sharp, but it's the shop isn't actually working, so I don't know how to like. So I mean, like points deducted for that.
Oh,
but, like,
so the gear you're seeing now too, there's also more of it that they put out on Instagram that is not online anywhere too. That is a little farther off, but it's still rather safe too.
Okay,
So
fair
I'm
enough.
not gonna push too much into that. I don't feel like it's as good as the Gladiators though either though. But it still has that same vibe, just one step down. Like the Gladiators is their big brother in every step.
Gladiator Light, yeah. Oh.
I don't like these. I don't like the colors. It reminds me of a frog. I don't like it. It's gross. I don't know. Like maybe if they only did like the green
Yeah.
and just like didn't keep that yellow anywhere there. But I can't stop looking at their zip up. That like zip up with it. It looks like a frog. I don't like it.
I can see the face. I can see the face, man.
I don't like it. I think this is like okay, so like it's not as bad as like the McDonald's colors that Mayhem has, but like
hey.
And like I might have been a little bit too harsh on Mayhem. I stick by my guns. But this the only reason why I think it's kind of okay is because like there are instances of where you can make these colors look okay, like the jersey that you have on literally now. I think the colors,
This is a good color, and I think this is what everything looks like in the store.
No, but I still don't like those colors, but I think that is fine. That's like fine.
Okay, we're getting the score, and all I have to say is I hope Washington D.C. has the worst branding in the league. So we can rip you apart because you've hated on both of our high teams.
That's fair.
All I'm saying. But I'm still only going to give it a 7. Across the board, they're a kind of mediocre brand. No, I'm giving it an 8. I am giving it an 8.
No bias.
No, that's not biased because I see the future that they moved away from that first playoff gear, and the future merch, I'm going to bump it up to an 8. It's not as high as the Gladiators, but I see potential with what they're going.
Yeah. I give them a 5 because
Yikes.
it's like it's that olive color. You can't do much with it.
You gave the Mayhem a 9. I don't trust anything you say.
Look at me. I look great. But this is the thing too. They're redeeming themselves by going the safe route. But the problem is that they're relying on super generic, super neutral colors to make it happen, which is black and white. So I mean, they're not tanking it because I think I think somebody in like Valiant merch was like, oh shit, what are we gonna do? Okay, black and white, we can do that. We can do that with anything. We're fine. But that I can borderline promise you're never gonna see that olive color by itself with the black and white. I don't think it's ever gonna happen because it just doesn't work. It doesn't work with anything else.
Done.
So
just drop the bomb.
I tried to be a lot more generous with these teams. Atlantic felt very generic. These felt a little bit more unique, and I didn't dumpster a lot of these teams because they're wearable. I don't like them, but they're wearable. I really don't think a lot of their Valiant's merch is wearable. Like, a lot of it just, to me, like I said, it looks like a frog, and so I gave it a 4. And like, the reason why I didn't dumpster it harder like I did Mayhem is because the jersey that you have on is somewhat wearable. I wouldn't wear it ever in my. Oh my god, no, never. I would wear it. But like it's you put it on a person and it looks fine. You look fine in that jersey. It looks like you love the team and that you respect the team and you want to support the team.
Oh my god. Okay, we're running a little long today, so let's move on to the next one. We're almost approaching an hour already. So we got 2 more teams left here. And we're jumping into one of the teams that are my favorite from the Pacific. The Seoul Dynasty. I'm going to have Dylan lead off with this one. On your thoughts, let's try to keep it a little shorter here, but I don't want to cut back in discussion or anything, but...
Yeah, I'll keep it as short as I can. Hell yeah, Dynasty's sick, dude. Oh my god, I'm going to be popping off about this team. All the teams you give me to lead, like, ooh, I've been loving all of them. Dynasty, name... It's a sick name. It's such a good name. It like I think it fits with their overall brand of like like they're building a dynasty, They're trying to be this team that just like has a nice solid team that goes on for a long time, and they're royal. They're going to be winning. They're going to be decked out in medals. Like, damn, dude, good name. I think it's a generic name. Don't get me wrong. It's a generic name, but it feels really good for Seoul, I think. I think it feels real good for Seoul.
Yeah, like I can keep it pretty short and sweet too because I think they just nailed it so well. Generic, yeah, but generic culturally, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like for them,
very
like
much associated with that kind of region. Yes.
exactly, right, exactly. So I think this is another one of like the Outlaws who were like, okay, we got this grab bag to work with. I'm taking the best one out of that. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm real big fan of the Dynasty too.
Yeah. Dynasty makes me think of Dynasty Warriors. Makes me think of that area. Bring it all together. I know that's China, not quite Korea, but it's that same region. That's where I get that name from. That's why I think of it culturally. I'm on board. I'm loving the name.
Yeah, so overall scores, I gave it an 8 because it's generic, but it's like a really good generic. Like it fits. It's like a generic, but it fits with the region really well.
I hit him with the best generic, so I gave him a 9. Like
I gave them a 9 too. They're better than the Gladiators. This is a better generic name than even the Gladiators. So I had to give them a 9. Not 10 level. It's not Shanghai Dragons, but it is still good.
Yeah, and then going on to like the logo and the colors associated with it, I really like this a lot. And I actually did a little bit of reading on this, and it described it as the way they did the logo is that it's supposed to be like a modernized royal seal. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh no, I kind of get it. I can see it because like the lines, very thick lines, right?
Yeah.
And so like you could see it just being like stamped onto something, and dang, I like it. And I like that I like it's not like a gold. It's like a really like I don't know.
It's like an orange gold.
It's like a deep yellow.
It's like a deep yellowish. It's like an old gold color.
Yeah.
And I like that, and I think with the black and white, it fits really well. And I like the tiger, and I think that's like seems like royal and like the dynasty. It fits. I think it fits. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat for everything. Like I was initially a little like I still want to rank it really high, but not super high. But then like the white accents, I think really just kind of does it for me too. And they tie like this is a team that took all 3 of their colors and we're like we're gonna perfect it, suck it. You know what I mean? So I mean like their logo and their color choice and how they arrange that. I think honestly, I think it does better than almost their name or like, you know what I mean? Like, or I think it's on par, really.
I love everything about it. The color combination is golden. You bring up the royal kind of crest or seal or whatever, makes me love it even more. Like, it is one of those ones that it doesn't fit with the name perfectly, but I feel like it's such a good logo, it doesn't need to. That they just nailed the logo so well that even though it's not the exact equivalent to a dynasty, I'm still 120% on board with it.
Yeah, and I guess just going right on through it and talking about the merch.
Wait, scores?
Scores. A 9 because I thought it was super solid.
Yeah. After hearing Dylan's little rant about the seal, I bumped it up from an 8 to a 9. Like, excellent boys.
I'm dropping it. I'm going to give it a 10.
Oh, okay.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I can't find a problem with it. And I was kind of thinking about giving it a 9, but then that whole crest or seal kind of thing brought it up to 10. I'm like, that's what I needed, and that kind of association is what needed to put me right over the edge.
Yeah. Okay. And then going into merch because I guess I was just too excited to talk about the merch. I think some of it is a little bit lacking. So if they go with white as the main, not on board. I don't like it that much. But I think if they use black as the main and they accent it with that like gold color, oh my gosh, this is actually really sick. Even though it's not my colors and I don't like those colors as much, I think it fits super, super well. And I know we didn't talk about the in-game skins, but like I feel like they look really good. They're like all the black and then those gold accents. It makes me think that like merch in real life could look something like that. And like just seeing like the diva skin, it just like it sold me on like those color combinations together. And there's actually a piece of fan art out there. I don't think this is real merch, but there's a fan art of one of the players of where he has a bomber jacket and like the top of the bomber, like the little neck area, and then the bottom and the cuffs are that gold color. And there's like it's a bomber, so it's all black, and then on the back is just the big seal. like in their colors and stuff, and that like blew my mind. If this was real, it would be the sickest jacket of all time. Oh my god, it would be so sick. I'm just like staring at it because it's so cool.
I mean, like, and see, like, for me, it's basically everything Dylan said. But on top of that, their potential and the amount of stuff they have to work with. Plus, let's acknowledge the. Oh yeah, okay. Oh, okay, sick. That's awesome. Yeah, like, so yeah. For context, Dylan just showed us the kind of the fan art he was talking about. Yeah, okay, I can get behind that. And not only that, but Korea's kind of like ahead of everybody else when it comes to fashion. These guys know what they're doing. Like, I mean, and that's a known fact. That's a wildly known fact. So not only do they have great colors to work with, they have a great name to work with, they have a great logo to work with, and like their potential is like it's limitless. So these guys take the cake for me. These guys know, like, they're gonna pop up some crazy stuff.
Thinking more about it, their colors are the grown-up version of the Florida Mayhem. They perfect that gold and black versus the yellow and black, and makes everything about it look perfect. The accents, the white accent is just perfect. And yeah, if that bomber jacket was real, that'd be awesome. And I just see with that black and gold, it's the little bit of potential I see in the Mayhem brought front forward. It's pretty much what it is. I see this as the like 10-year older, cooler version of the Florida Mayhem.
So, like, one closing thing with the merch and stuff like that. It's not a total black either. It is a slightly lighter, which I think just adds to the flair a little bit more. It's not just a generic black. It's like this really dark gray, almost like faded black that I think like makes it even better.
All right, what do you got for scores?
Let's score this up as a 10. I love it. And I give it a 10 not only because of what they have, but also because of like just thinking about the stuff they can do and what I really hope they will do. Because like, oh, this is so.
I also hit him with the 10. Oh yeah. There's like, if they screw this up, I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a way they could, and I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it yet. Because even their Overwatch store, there's not one poorly executed thing on there that I see that these guys kind of had control with. Even with the jerseys and stuff like that. Like I had no bones to pick, so I'm giving them a 10 as well.
Across the board, give them that 10. They deserve it in every way. Almost a perfect 30 for me, but so close. But we do have one last team to look over before we do go into our final rankings for all the existing Overwatch teams so far. The San Francisco Shock. The stepsister or stepbrother to the LA teams. James, I'll have you lead with this one. I'm curious, what do you think? This is kind of those same colors of the Mayhem. You got the same love?
What?
I know, okay, it's orange instead of red. Otherwise, it's the same colors.
Orange? What? It's like orange instead of yellow, man. Like,
orange is their.
Yeah, orange is. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, okay, for the Shock, it's not. Their name's not bad. I don't have a huge bone to pick with their name, and I think it's mainly because of how it just kind of rolls off the tongue. It's one of those kind of names. It's a very safe practice in sports to make your name and your the city have the exact same starting letter. Like, it's a safe move. It's a smart move. But like, it just doesn't like do it for me. So like, I don't know. I wasn't like super sold on it. Honestly, going into this, I forgot that San Francisco Shock existed. So like, and that's the problem. That's the problem with me. It's not memorable, right? Like, it doesn't stick out. Even the Gladiators and the Valiant stick out more than these guys to me. So but again, like the name, once you hear it, you're like, okay, I get it, right? So yeah, no, I'm kind of mixed.
You ever heard of the San Francisco like fault lines, like earthquakes, aftershocks, all that kind of stuff? Like, I think the team name makes perfect sense to me. I'm actually a huge fan of the team name. It's pretty much San Francisco Aftershock. It's kind of how I thought of it right away.
Then go with Aftershock.
But no, Shock goes off the tongue. It is the better half of that. It makes more sense. It's more brandable. The team name goes better. And I love this name for association with the area, because to me, it made perfect sense. And I don't even get me started about the logo. I love the logo too. But name, I think they nailed it for a city-specific thing without going generic. They could have gone generic, but they found something that fit for a city that otherwise doesn't have much known for it besides the hills or kind of the trolley or something kind of like that. Like they found something unique but still brandable. Dylan, you had a moment of like awakening there.
So at first I didn't like the name at all. I was like, oh, this is dumb or whatever. But there's like really cool association. Like, okay, yeah, like
Get on
heck
that
yeah,
train.
let's go with it. I mean, that's all I really have to say. Like, cool. Like that's like, but the thing though is that's like an interesting bit of trivia. I think is sick and interesting, but like it doesn't make things better for me. Like it's cool. It's like, oh, fun fact. It's kind of like aftershocks, but also it's kind of like, all right, yeah, you have earthquakes in San Francisco, I guess. Like it sucks for you.
Yeah, so like for me, like you saying that makes it click. You know what I mean? But it's not something. It's not like the Shanghai Dragons. It's not that direct association. You know what I mean? It's something you got to kind of dig a little bit. So I mean that kind of bumps it up a little bit for me. But like again, it's just like I don't know. It's not the immediate association. Like again, like the Dallas Fuel and stuff like that. So for me, I gave the boys a 7. Gave them a 7.
9.
Whoo!
I
What?
love
What?
this branding. The more every time I look at it, I'm like, they actually nailed it. Nothing more. I will bring that. I'll keep talking about this later. You are gonna drink this Kool-Aid before I'm done.
I mean, no. I mean, I'm gonna give it a 7. I'm not, but okay. To be fair, I did bump it up because of what you said, but still.
It'll keep building.
Yeah.
It'll keep building. I want to hear what you got about the logo, James.
I don't have good things to say about the logo. I don't like. I mean, even with the little bit of background with like and how you kind of like brought in like the aftershock and stuff like that. The little like sound, but like the sound wave kind of thing. Like to me, that just doesn't do it for me, man. You got like and then it's just the SF. That's like it's a weak ass logo, man. It's weak. It doesn't hit with me. It does not.
So, this might just be kind of putting together. First off, the sonic lines kind of go along with the tremors. That makes sense to me there, first off. Second off, I see the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yep.
I see that there.
Weird.
Yep. 100%.
Because you kind of have the bridge, you go up tall, you have the pillars going off in the distance. I see the Golden Gate Bridge there on top of this.
Oh, there
This
it is.
is another logo that nailed it alongside the names. Because not only do they have one of the most iconic things in all of San Francisco in the logo, but they also brought it in with the name. They have the whole package here. This name logo combination is one to be trifled with. I am digging this.
So I totally agree on all those points. I think all those points are there. They're valid. They're super interesting. It just doesn't look good. Like that's all I have to say. Like it's cool. Like they do have the up and down like measuring an earthquake or whatever, and like they have this like audio wave kind of feel to it, and like the Golden Gate Bridge is there. It just doesn't look that good. Like that's all I have to kind of say about it.
Yeah, it's you know what? Just to kind of tie my point up, it's the necessity of using the SF. That's the thing. That's the thing that does it for me is that they feel they had to use the San Francisco part into it, and I think, and I see that as a crutch. That's the thing I see is that it's something you default back to and stuff like that. Now, when I see shock written out above the wavelength, that kind of does it for me. That's all right. But the SF with the wavelength on the bottom and then like the block around it, that's where it's kind of hit and miss for me. So
we're looking at different logos. The one I have up on screen and the one you're comparing about. So they do this too. They encapsulate it. But I think it looks so much better when it's San Francisco shock and then the Golden Gate Bridge underneath of it kind of there too. Mm-hmm. So they have one kind of more spread out. I think that looks a lot better, and that's one I kind of used. I agree when it's the SF, it doesn't look as good, but I have been using like kind of the full name and logo that was originally revealed for all my rankings. So when it's looking like that, more spread out, I really like it a lot more.
Yeah. So once the shock, when you have the shock spelled out and you have the K dipping off at the back end of like the wavelength, that does it a lot more for me. But it like the unfortunate part is the bulk of their merch and the stuff you see usually is, I mean, it's the #1 search on Google is the SF that's encapsulated, right? Like, and I mean, that's that's where kind of it doesn't do it for me. Don't get me wrong, man. The Golden Gate Association, the wavelength, all that, or like the audio wave stuff like that. That's all great and stuff like that. It's just, God, I wish that was just they didn't even use the encapsulated thing. You know what I mean? And they just stuck with the shock. So because of that, I'm going to give them a 6.
69. Bring up that 9.
Hey, yeah, I mean, I'm on board. Like 6, like I don't like it that much. I don't like the colors with it either. I mean, like the heart's there, so that's why I didn't give it anything lower. But like, ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I disagree. Don't worry, I'm gonna agree with you on the merch. I already have a feeling where you're kind of going with this.
yeah, like I mean, so yeah, it's like it's the weird cousin of the Florida Mayhem because they're like, okay, we're not going to use yellow and black. We're going to use gray and orange because those two kind of like fit together. So like that doesn't like I mean kind of like in quote like bringing that back to the logo too. Not only that, but they also have like the yellow on top of that, and it's not like a bright yellow either. It's this, but it's also not like the old yellow that Dynasty uses. You know what I mean? So putting all these three together, you do not have a lot to work with merchandise wise. You do not. Like, and I mean, and you can kind of see that in their store. I mean, their inaugural tee is nice, but their inaugural team is nice because everybody uses that same gray, and then they have the orange. But like, I mean, they're like in their cases of like using like the orange and the yellow together, that just looks like ugly, man. Like that looks like something a warning I'd see in my car. Like that's kind of like how it kind of all looks to me. Now have they, like, just out of curiosity, have they done merch like independently? And I mean, I feel like this is why, because I don't know how much they have to work with. Now if they start getting crazy and start incorporating the bridge, like straight up the bridge into it, and they start going kind of that route maybe, and they start bringing in white, that, because I feel like every team's allowed to do that, then you can kind of go elsewhere. But with they're working with right now, I'm not seeing anything crazy yet.
I have nothing to add. I agree. It's just it's not much to work with. With how big I am on the other two, I really fall flat in this, and this is probably some of my least favorite merch and clothing and kind of color combinations for that today. I don't have much else to add on top of what you said.
Yeah, I mean, if they had like all gray, and the only saving grace for me is if they had all gray with just a little bit of orange, I think that color combo is super, super nice. I really like a nice orange accent to gray. I think it looks really cool, but they don't do that. Orange is their main color, and it looks gross.
What do you have for the final score of the day?
4.
5.
I gave it a 5 because there was that one little tiny redeeming part.
4 seems harsh for me. 5 still seems better than some of the ones from last time. But
I think I'm being a little meaner because they keep getting associated as like the other mayhem, and it just doesn't sit with me, boys. Come on.
But with that brings us up to all 6 teams from the Pacific Division. So now we are going to go over and look at the scoreboard and kind of see where these new teams kind of fit into us personally and then overall. So now we're going to jump into actually looking at each one of our overall rankings and then looking at the podcast rankings. So for me, Seoul Dynasty being number 1, it deserves to be there. I absolutely love that brand. And then 4 through 7 are all going to be Pacific teams. Shanghai, Gladiator, Shock, Valiant. I'm not happy that the Valiant is going to be the lowest out of those 4, but I had to put them where they deserved. And then Fuel being the lowest one. It says I have 13 for merch. That's actually an 8 for the bottom of it. I like it, but it was just kind of mediocre, whatever, kind of for me. James, what about you?
Yeah, so I'm a bit more spread out. Like, I mean, my Pacific and Atlantic are very, like, I find well mixed. Sitting, like, I have an Atlantic team is sitting as my top with London, and then I have Seoul and Shanghai kind of like floating around the top. Like, I mean, I feel like all those brands really hit such a good spot. Like, even the Philly Fusion too. Thinking back to it, like, I was really into that. I was really into what they were putting out.
Well, you also have 3 teams tied for second and 3 teams tied for third.
That's true, yeah. It's kind of like, I mean, I was pretty generous with those teams, but I find that's what happens with me when I like a team. Like, I have a hard time finding stuff I don't like. No. That being said, though, like, I mean, putting San Francisco and LA kind of tied down there, like, I mean, Dylan or Andrew, I hate to do it to you, man, but like, I mean,
Today was a rough day for you.
It was a rough day for you, buddy. It was a rough day for you. And then, of course, the XL at the very bottom.
There's a gap. There's a very big gap. We'll talk about that in a second. But first, Dylan, what do you got?
Yeah, I felt like, at least looking at the totals, I feel pretty good about these overall rankings. I feel like the overall strength of the brand, I agree with kind of how all my numbers played out, at least in the totals. I do feel like I was a little bit hard on some of the Atlantic teams, mainly Florida and New York. Like, they got dumpstered on. But I think they deserve it, to be honest, because Florida's, I don't know. I think their mainline merch is just not wearable, so it should be that low. But I feel very, very good about Seoul being my number one, and the ties for second as Houston, Shanghai, and Dallas. I do feel like all those are extremely strong brands, and I feel really good about how they fell on my board.
Yeah, and I think a lot of our top three looks pretty similar. So now we're going to look at the overall ones, and I'll actually list each one of them in the point values. So we had Seoul Dynasty with 84. Pretty close to perfect. That's getting way up there with 84 for first. Houston Outlaws, our old favorite, at 81. Shanghai Dragons coming in at third with 77 overall. Spitfire being fourth with 75. Then we start seeing a little bit of drop-offs from here. Philadelphia Fusion at 70. Dallas Fuel in sixth with 69. And the Gladiators with 69.
Nice.
Going to eighth place, we have Florida Mayhem with 58. Shock with 58. The loser of the Pacific, the Valiant in 10th, then the Uprising, and then the huge, almost 20-point drop down to the New York XL for 12th. It is going to be a rough overall ranking for them.
That being said, I think this is the only third that Shanghai's ever going to see. So, I mean, like...
Hey.
Got him.
Hey, yes, probably. But that's not what we're here for, but you're not wrong. But with that, this is going to wrap up part 2 of our project rankings for the Overwatch League branding. We will have the third part out when all the expansion teams have released their branding. When you guys see this, it'll already be out. But we're still waiting on Dylan's Washington and Vancouver's team both to officially release. So after that is released, we'll do our final recordings and start pushing these out to you guys so you can start experiencing it with us. But with that, thank you so much for tuning in, listening to us rant on for over an hour about what do we think about these different brands. Let us know in the comments below what you think. What do you think of our top 12 so far? If you think Dylan, what James is wearing right now is atrocious or a real thing. If they're too hard on my LA Valiant. And pray with us all that Washington has horrible, horrible branding so that we can just dumpster on Dylan. But you can find us on Twitter at the Esports Pod. YouTube is YouTube/TheGameHouse. Twitch is twitch.tv/TheGameHouse. Check us out there. Leave us a comment. Anything means the world to us. But we will see you guys for the next part and the final part of Project Rankings. Until then, thank you very much, and I'll see you later.